Hey everyone, welcome back to another session. In today's class, we are going to study about the sense organ of Periplaneta americana. Let's begin our class. What all things are present as a sense organ in the organism? Which organism I'm talking about? I'm talking about the cockroach. So what part of the cockroach we call it as sense organ? What is the meaning of sense organ actually? These are nothing but which is going to sense something. That means it is related to our sensory neuron. For example, tell me what are the sense organs present in our body? Your eye, nose, ear, skin, tongue, these all are called as sense organ present in our body. So what are the sense organ present in cockroach? These are antennae, labrum, maxillary pulp, labial pulp, compound eye, simple eye and anal cerci. If you remember, until here we have studied in the part of head for the cockroach, right? Anal cerci, if this is the cockroach, it is present at the 10th segment. At the last part, anal cerci is present, right? Anal cerci is present over here. Now, if you remember, I already told you, kabhi bhi hum piche se jate hain na, then also cockroach sense that somebody is coming. How? Uski aankhein to piche hai nahi. Then how does it get to know that somebody is coming? Through the vibration, sound vibration. Okay, who sends these sound vibration? It is sensed by the anal cerci. Now, why these organs? Why only these organs are called as sense organ? Because they have receptors on it. What are receptors? It is going to receive the stimuli. It is going to receive the stimuli. What is stimuli? Any external change, we call it as stimuli, right? So what are receptors? Here we are going to study. We will study about the chemoreceptor. That is something but the sense the chemicals. Mechanoreceptors sense the mechanical stimuli. For example, your touch and pressure. Photoreceptors, light. Thermoreceptors, temperature, right? Now see here class. So two units basically we are going to focus on, that is nothing but your sensili and scolopedia. Sensili is nothing but, see, if you remember, I told you cockroach body, outer body is made up of exoskeleton and that exoskeleton is made up of chitin. The outermost layer of the cockroach we call it as cuticle. The outermost layer of the cockroach we call it as cuticle. At this cuticle layer, the sense organ, the small sense organs which are present over here, what do we call it as? Sensillae. So the sense organ, the small sense organs which are present at the layer of the cuticle, we call it as sensillae. The organ, the sense organ which is present at the subcuticle layer, let me draw over here. So this is your subcuticle layer, okay? Below cuticle you have subcuticle layer. The sense organ which are present on the subcuticle layer, what do we call it as? Scolopedia. So sense organ present on the cuticle layer, we call it as sensillae. Sense organ present on the on the sub cuticle layer, we call it as scolopedia. Sensillae की अगर बात करें तो here we are going to talk about the thermoreceptor, olfactory and gustatory. Thermo means what? Temperature. It is going to sense what? Temperature. Olfactory means it is going to sense smell. Gustatory कैसे याद रखना है? Smell. Olfactory. O nose होता है ना, smell करते हैं, nose में भी O रहता है ना, hole रहता है. Then gustatory is nothing but your taste. It is going to sense the taste. Thermoreceptor is present on the first, second, third of the tarsomere. Now, if you remember, tarsus के पांच part थे, where the last one is like a claw. So all these part, what do we call it as? Tarsomere. What do we call it as? Tarsomere. Okay, single one we call it as tarsomere, right? Then the olfactory वाला कौन सा है? Maxillary pulp, labial pulp and the antennae. Gustatory वाला कौन सा है? Maxillary pulp, labial pulp and the labrum. Right, so that's all we have for the sensillae. Now let's jump on the scolopedia. Scolopedia में basic यहाँ पे हम बात करने वाले हैं one organ की, that is nothing but the chordotonal organ. What is this chordotonal organ? These are the organ which can detect the mechanical stimuli. So what do we chordotonal organ हम किसको बोलते हैं? To which organ I can call it as a chordotonal organ? All the organs which sense the mechanical stimuli, we call it as chordotonal organ. Which all organs are present over here? There will be Johnston's organ, subgenual organ and tympanal organ. Now if you remember, tympanal आपने पहले भी सुना हुआ है. कहाँ सुना है? Write it in the comment box. So Johnston organ की हम बात करें तो it helps in the movement of flagella of the antennae. See class, हियर बेसिकली अलग से हम कुछ फ्लैजिला नहीं पढ़ते हैं, कंपाउंड आई से योर एंटीना विल कम आउट, उसी का वो मूव करता है, सो ड्यू टू इट्स मूवमेंट वी आल्सो कॉल इट एज फ्लैजिला, ड्यू टू इट्स मूवमेंट वी आल्सो कॉल इट एज फ्लैजिला, ठीक है। सो मूवमेंट ऑफ द फ्लैजिला ऑफ द एंटीना एंड वेयर इट इज प्रेजेंट ऑन द एंटीनल पेडिसल, आपकी टेक्स्ट बुक में मीनिंग नहीं दिया हुआ है, राइट इट इन योर टेक्स्ट बुक, पेडिसल इज नथिंग बट द segments, with segments, second segment, your antenna is made up of, antenna is segmented, so the second segment of antenna, what do we call it as? Pedicel. So location is where antennal pedicel and the flagella, or you can just call it like this, antenna will be there and here small flagellas will be there if you want to remember it like that, otherwise it's okay, you can just remember it like antenna will be there, on top of it flagella will be there. Next one, the subgenual organ. Subgenual organ is going to sense the ground vibration, that is no activity, nothing is there, only the ground vibration. Where it is present? Proximal part of the tibia. What is tibia? If you remember, that is the largest part, largest leg part of the cockroach. Usme bhi proximal part, this is proximal and this is distal. Proximal part mein what is present? Your subgenual organ will be present. Tympanal, that means sound की बात करें, sound की बात करें तो किसमें होगा? अभी बताया था, it is in the anal cerci, okay, anal cerci. Then the last one is ommatidia, which we will study in detail in upcoming slides. तो यहाँ पे अभी आप बस इतना समझ लो कि we are going to talk about the compound eye and the simple eye, wherein ommatidia is present only in the compound eye, but in simple eye there is no ommatidia present. What these two eyes are useful for? Both are going to detect the light intensity. Both are going to detect the light intensity. But when we talk about the vision, only and only compound eye is responsible for the vision. Cockroach cannot see through simple eye. Simple eye is only for detecting the light intensity. No other function is there for simple eye. But compound eye की बात करें तो it is going to detect the light as well as it is helpful in the vision. Now let's understand about the compound eye. Compound eye, if we'll talk here, see here, this is your compound eye. This is your compound eye. How many compound eye will be there? Two. That means one pair. What is the color? Dark. What is the shape? Like this, it will be kidney or bean shape. Where it is present, if you can see, dorsolateral side. Side में, suppose if this is head of the cockroach, यहाँ पे present होता है. That is dorsolateral side पे. What is the functional unit of compound eye? When I say functional unit means it should help in the function of the compound eye. Now, what is the function of the compound eye? It is nothing but the intensity of the light को sense करना, and the second very important is your vision. So for vision we have ommatidia. The functional unit of compound eye is nothing but your ommatidia. See here it is gonna be like this. Ommatidia, it's gonna be like this. इस तरीके से आपको बाहर से दिखेगा. Okay, how many ommatidia? 2000 per compound eye. So total how many ommatidia will be present? 4000 ommatidia will be present. These are optically independent. That means suppose this is one ommatidia, second, third and fourth. Suppose this ommatidia is not working properly, so it is not going to affect the other ommatidia. All the other ommatidia, each and every ommatidia is going to form their own image. So even if one get damaged or some or the other thing happen to the one, so other function won't be affected because they form their own image, right? कैसे image form करते हैं आपको दिख रहा है? 2000 इस तरीके के. Let me show you in the diagram. हाँ, suppose here you can see just like a beehive structure, honeycomb का जो structure होता है ना, उस तरीके से like this it will be present. How many? 2000. So each ommatidia will form its own image. So whatever my cockroach will see, suppose if cockroach is seeing apple, it will see like this. In this way it will see like a puzzle, like a puzzle. Intact image won't be there. It is like a puzzle. Okay. Now one ommatidia ये बता दिया आपको. Now outer surface of ommatidia, if you will see outer surface, so this which you can see I'm drawing with the yellow color, this is outer surface of one ommatidia. This is second ommatidia, third ommatidia, fourth ommatidia. So outer surface जो आपको compound eye पे मतलब actually तो नहीं दिखेगा, आप microscope में देखेंगे तब दिखेगा आपको. So outer structure is nothing but it is hexagonal. These hexagonal outer structure we call it as facet. So this is the outer structure. Let me draw like this. So this is the outer structure. From this outer structure your ommatidia will come out. So ommatidia is in contact with the facet. facet. What is facet? It is nothing but the hexagonal structure which you see from the outside. Okay, outer surface of the compound eye is divided into 2000 hexagonal area. What do we call it as? Facet. What do we call it as? Facet. Now, ommatidia is the functional unit and facet is your elongated subunit. Elongated subunit. Right? Now, structure of ommatidia की बात करें यहाँ पे. So we are going to see certain part of it. Ommatidia में cornea present है, cornegen cells present, cone cell, crystalline cone and retinulae is present. We'll come back to this slide. Let me first explain certain things over here. Now, हमने क्या बोला? What all things are present? Cornea, then cornegen cell, then cone cell, then crystalline cone, then retinulae. All these things are part of the ommatidia. Let's start. First, we'll start with the cornea. So, suppose यहाँ पे अगर facet होता है इस तरीके से, अगर I'm drawing facet, so उसी के नीचे से what is will present? Ommatidia will come out. Okay, उसी से just attach ommatidia will be present. So, ommatidia starts with the structure we call it as cornea, which is biconvex in nature. It is transparent, biconvex in nature, and facet क्या है? Outermost layer है. Outermost layer पे what is उसके साथ क्या connected है? Ommatidia. So outermost layer मैंने क्या बताया था? Cuticle बताया था ना? So cornea is also nothing but your transparent biconvex cuticle. Transparent biconvex cuticle. Okay, it is cuticle. Now, below cornea, some cells are present. Two cells are present. We call it as cornegen cells. We call it as cornegen cells. What is the function of these cornegen cells? These cornegen cells are actually going to secrete cornea. So, how cornea is formed? By using these two cornegen cells. Cornegen cells are responsible for secreting the cornea. Just below cornea, we have another cell. We call it as cone cell. How it is? Structure will be cone. Structure will be conical structure. Cone cells are present. Now these cone cells are responsible for the formation of crystalline cone. For the formation of crystalline cone. I am repeating myself again. The outermost layer we call it as cornea, which is nothing but your transparent biconcave cuticle. Right? Then cornea is being secreted by cornegen cells. Below cornegen cells, you have cone cells. These cone cells are going to secrete your crystalline cone. Crystalline cone. Crystalline cone. Surrounding to this first part, here, surrounding to this first part, you have the primary pigment sheath. You have primary pigment sheath. We call it as iris pigment sheath. Iris pigment sheath. Now these pigment sheath will be able to absorb light. Now you only tell me, if light is falling from this side, will it be able to enter inside the ommatidia? No, it will be absorbed at the level of iris pigment sheath, right? So if the light is passing, it will pass from cornea. Cornea se where it goes to crystalline cone, and then it goes beyond that, right? So this much is clear. Cornea, cornegen cell, cone cell and crystalline cone is clear with you, right? Now let's jump on the retinulae. If we talk about the retinulae, it is also called as the retinular cell. It is also called as the retinular cell. Now, one retinular cell, if I'll draw like this, so this is one retinular cell, which is nothing but the elongated nerve cell. It is the elongated nerve cell. It is the elongated nerve cell, and it is present on the basement membrane. It is present on the basement membrane. Now, like this, you have how many retinular cell? You have 7 retinular cell. 1, 2, 3, 4. You have how many? 7 retinular cell. Now, from these retinular cells, what will come out? Microvilli-like structure will come out. Microvilli-like structure will come out. These microvilli-like structure combinedly fuse together to form rhabdome. Am I saying correct? No, rhabdomere it will be forming, okay? Rhabdomere it will be forming, okay? These rhabdomeres, so suppose one rhabdomere you have here, another rhabdomere you have here, another rhabdomere you have here. So all these rhabdomere will combine to form your rhabdome. All these rhabdomere will combine to form your rhabdome. Now let me draw over here. So here what do you have? You have retinular cell. How many? 7 retinular cell here, 7 retinular cells over here, okay? So overall 7 retinular cells will be there. Let's just remember like this, because यहाँ पे picture में तुमको ऐसा दिख रहा है, but it will be surrounding, okay? This like, how do I explain? In between you have rhabdome that is being surrounded by the retinular cell, okay? That is being surrounded by the retinular cell. So how many? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 7 retinular cells will be there, right? उसका जो microvilli है, that will fuse together to form rhabdome. Rhabdomere will fuse together to form rhabdome. So यहाँ से microvilli निकलेगा, that will fuse together to form rhabdome. Rhabdome will fuse together to form Microvilli will fuse together to form rhabdomere. Rhabdomere will fuse together to form rhabdome. So middle का जो structure बन रहा है, that structure, what do we call it as? We call it as rhabdome. We call it as rhabdome. Now where it will be? It is all lying on the basement membrane. यहाँ से आपकी क्या निकल रही है? Nerve निकल रही है. कौन सी nerve निकल रही है? Optic nerve. Now you only tell me what will be the pathway for the eye, for the light. Sorry, not for the eye, for the light. Now, let me draw it over here. Light will enter into the cornea. Cornea से crystalline cone. Crystalline cone से rhabdome. Rhabdome से it will pass to the optic nerve. Okay. So, your light ray will be cornea. Cornea से crystalline cone. Crystalline cone से rhabdome. Not retinulae. Rhabdome I can say. Rhabdome, and rhabdome से it will go to the nerve cell. कौन सी nerve cell? Optic nerve cell. Now these combinedly, that means rhabdome, which is the yellow one, and the purple one is nothing but the rhabdomere, not rhabdomere, retinulae. Okay, retinulae and rhabdome combinedly, it is going to act like a receptor. So the light ray which is coming till crystalline cone, it is going to be spread on all these things, because all these two, that is rhabdome and retinulae, act like a receptor, and then it will pass through the optic nerve. I hope this must be clear to you. Now see here, same structure. Cornea is present, cornean cells are present. These are going to secrete the cornea, and below that you have the cone cell, this brown color one which you can see here, and it is going to secrete your crystalline cone. Okay, so light will pass from cornea to crystalline cone, and this red color one which you can see, these are nothing but the 7 retinulae or retinular cells will be present around this white one, that is nothing but the rhabdome. So इसी का microvilli will fuse together to form rhabdomere. Rhabdomere will fuse together to form rhabdome, that is the white color one. ठीक है? अच्छा, I forgot to tell you this. Surrounding to these receptors, we will be having surrounding to the receptor. Let me see. Surrounded by the secondary pigment, we call it as retinal pigment sheath. यहाँ पे देखो, if you will take a transverse section of it, in middle what is present? Rhabdome is present. Surrounding the rhabdome, what is present? Retinular cells are present. Surrounding to that, the outermost layer, what is present? The secondary pigment is present. This we call it as secondary pigment, that is nothing but the retinal pigment sheath. Now what is the function of the secondary pigment? It is going to separate one ommatidia with the other ommatidia. So one ommatidia is separated from the other ommatidia through what? Through secondary pigment sheath, right? Now next one is the vision. Let me again go back. One is your apposition image, second one is your superposition image. Apposition image, and next one is your superposition vision. Okay, or vision. ठीक है? अब देखो यहाँ से, listen to me very very carefully. Let's draw 1 2 3 ommatidia, 1 2 3. Okay, this is your cornea. Okay, then down what you have? Cornean cells you have, then you have crystalline cone, and then you have rhabdome, and then you have nerve cells. Okay, roughly I have drawn. This is one ommatidia, this is one, this is second, this is third. Same way यहाँ पे भी you have 1 2 3, and then you have cornean cells, then you have crystalline cone, then you have rhabdome, and then you have nerve cells present over here. Now listen to me very carefully. Achha, I forgot to draw one thing. Now here here you have iris and here you have secondary pigment, but here you won't be having iris and secondary pigment. Now listen here. Apposition vision is formed during the daytime. That kind of insect we call it as diurnal. What is the meaning of diurnal? The insects or the organism which are active during the daytime. Superposition images form in the insect which are nocturnal. Nocturnal means which are active during the night time. Example given in your textbook is cockroach for the superposition and daytime ke liye housefly. Daytime ke liye housefly. Now listen to me very carefully. During the daytime, light ray will pass on the cornea. From cornea, crystalline cone. From crystalline cone, it will fall on the rhabdom. Here in the apposition image, rhabdom is immediately below the crystalline cone. Rhabdom is immediately below the crystalline cone. But when we talk about the superimposition image, rhabdom is deep below the crystalline cone. Deep below the crystalline cone. Okay. So light will pass from cornea, crystalline cone, rhabdom and in the optic nerve. What about the light which is falling on the third cornea? What about the light which is falling on the first cornea? It will pass to its own ommatidia. Light won't be able to enter into the another ommatidia. Why? Because of the sheath. During daytime, these primary and secondary sheaths are present which is going to absorb the light which comes from the another cornea. So due to this, what happened? Only one light ray will pass from one ommatidia and only one image formation takes place from one ommatidia. So one part of the image is formed from one ommatidia. What about the second? Second will form its own image. Third, this one will form its own image. But when we'll talk about the superimposition, light will fall from on cornea, cornea से crystalline cone में, and then rhabdom is deep seated inside, and then it will pass from the rhabdom and some image will be formed over here. What about the light which is falling from the other? Let me draw with another color. What about the light which is falling from the third? During night time, these pigment sheets, especially in your textbook written ki secondary pigment sheet is absent. So due to absence of the sheet, what will happen? The light which is falling on the third cornea, it is going to be refracted to the another cornea. Okay, आपने पढ़ा होगा, light can pass straight, reflection, refraction, all these things will happen, right? So here also cornea से refract करके third cornea का first second cornea में आ जाएगा, first cornea का भी second में आ जाएगा, second का first में चला जाएगा. What will happen? This shows that from one cornea many light ray will be passing. From one cornea many light ray will be passing. Why? Because the pigment sheath is absent, so light won't be absorbed by the pigment sheath. So what will happen? The light rays which are falling on one cornea, it will be refracted to the another cornea. So due to which what will happen? Many images will be forming and these images will be overlapping to each other. These images will be overlapping to each other. That means it is going to form the blur image. But when we'll talk about the opposition, each ommatidia will form its own image. For example, if you'll see apple, you will see like this. Okay, each ommatidia is forming its own part of the image. This kind of image we call it as mosaic image. Okay, mosaic image. But for neat point of view, you have to remember that even in cockroach, which kind of image is seen? You will see mosaic image. Okay, you will see mosaic image. Here in the picture, you can see, light ray passing from one cornea, same light ray can pass from the another cornea, due to which what will happen? Overlapping of the image will be there. Whatever I explain you, same thing I have written over here, right? Here in the picture, see, this is the mosaic vision. In small parts you will see, and this is the many small different part. मतलब हाथ कहीं दिखेगा, पैर कहीं दिखेगा, overlapping रहेगा, blur रहेगा, right? Like this you will be able to see mosaic vision. Now the last one is ocelli. Ocelli is also called as fenestra or the simple eye. Does is it having any function in the vision? No, it does not have any function in the vision. Then what is the function of it? It is sensitive only towards the change in the light where it is present. So this is your antenna. Okay, this is your antenna and this black one is your compound eye. Here what do you have? You have the simple eye, right? Here you can see in the picture, यहाँ पे देखो, this one is your ocelli and from here your antenna is coming out, right? And this one is your compound eye. And this one we can do it. This is your compound eye, okay? So that's all we have in today's class. We'll meet in next class. Thank you.